It's me, Stu, here for you. And oh my goodness, do we have a treasure and a treat for you today? Because we've got the lovely Julie Soul joining us. Julie, how the heck are you, bud?
I am amazing. I am so thrilled to be here. And you have no idea. I'm covered in acrylic paint from homeschooling my kids and doing arts and here from my house. And so I'm here to
Well,
show everyone.
that's all
Remember?
going to make sense for everybody here
Yes,
in just a minute. But what I'm really pumped about is you have done some very incredible things in a very short period of time, growing a brand spanking new membership to more than 1,400 plus members in just over a year. And if I'm correct in saying this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but prior to this, you hadn't really sold anything at all before. Am I right in that?
that's right. Well, a candy bar back in like junior high.
Right.
M&Ms.
So this isn't not only like a brand new membership, but you're starting as a brand new entrepreneur, and a lot has changed in a short period of time. So I want to kind of unpack, who it is that you serve, what you're doing in your membership, and I want to talk about this journey because there's a lot else that has happened in this past year for you as you've grown this membership, and it's there's some pretty incredible takeaways from it. So take us back. Where did all this begin? Who is it that you serve? Who's your market first?
I serve homeschoolers and art teachers. And then there's sometimes studio owners, but that's primarily I have two customer bases and they're similar and different. And
Okay, so homeschoolers and art teachers, and what are you helping them with?
we supply kid tested and kid approved cross curricular art projects. So I'm nerdy and geeky. And so we wanted to be able to bring that. And instead of, I feel sad when I see kids being forced to draw chairs or still lives from, like, no offense, Dutch artists, but like older Dutch artists. And I wanted them to be drawing frost giants and creating sea dragons. And so there really wasn't anything out there with that kind of fun element. And so that's kind of how it took off.
So you saw a gap in a market in terms of what was being provided and what you wanted to provide. So let me ask you, when you saw this gap, like where did you start connecting the dots that this could potentially be an idea for a business? Regardless of, we're not talking about the membership yet, but just that there was potential here.
A couple of years ago, I had a friend over and I was teaching her and a couple of other homeschool mom friends art. And she looked at me and she said, I can't make those art projects on the wall that your kids are. And I said, well, why not? I said, they're easy. And she's like, maybe to you. And she's like, I wish you would share your talent.
Aha.
And I always thought that this was something that it was too easy to me. And I feel like that's often what we should be teaching. There are those things that we find too easy and we feel deep down that nobody wants to know those things. But she said those things are hard and there was nothing to connect homeschoolers who didn't feel artsy to being able to create those things. So at the initial outset, my customer base was only homeschoolers. And so I started a free Facebook group.
Yeah.
And my goal was to get them from knowing nothing. What are watercolors, for example? What are all these supplies? If I go through Michael's, what do I buy? To teach them how to get from a point of knowing nothing to be able to join any membership that was out there and to be able to create or purchase from anyone out there because I had no desire to have my own thing at that time. I just had a free Facebook group and I had fun and I would go in there and I'd be like, this is a watercolor. And it was kind of I never got paid for it. In fact, I gave away art supplies. So I gave away my money.
So it was costing you to run the Facebook group.
It was costing me to run a free Facebook group. My husband's like, okay, you just, I'm not going to say anything. And that Facebook group ended up with about 1,300 members. And I was having a lot of fun with it. And then one day, and I think that all people have sometimes someone who creates this massive shift in their life. I had someone who I thought was a friend, and they hurt me. And you know how Taylor Swift and country music artists, like, they rage create when they get upset?
Yeah.
This is what I did, but with art projects. So eventually I ended up with all these art projects of my own that I had created. And I had a friend saying, well, maybe you should sell them. I'm like, no. I can't do that. I can't charge.
Did you have a block around selling?
Oh, yes. I grew up with a lot of money issues in the family. And I grew up with this feeling that people like me worked for people like that. And I would never be that. And I was often saying things like, maybe in the next lifetime. And I had a friend who saw what happened. She's like, I'm going to help you create a few art projects too. And eventually I brought her on as a business partner. And poor her, I feel bad for her because she had no idea what was going on. And we gave away our first bundle of art projects for free. And then our second one for free. And then someone said, what are you doing? You need to sell that. And I said, okay, $5. So like, how about more than $5? So I sold it for $10. And that was it.
And that was the beginning.
I thought a few people would buy it, and about 150 were buying every month. The ones
wow.
For $10. And they all asked for a membership.
So at this point, you were selling them as like, one-off packages. So they pay the $10, they get this bundle of stuff. But you just said there that, after a couple of months of this, people were saying, hey, can we just send you money automatically? Can this be turned into a subscription?
And I think that's what they probably wanted, was like that subscription where they got it. And I just kept going. And in 90 days, created an entire membership portal and created a big thing out of it. And I just kept saying the whole time, something big is coming. Something big is coming. And it's only then that I actually developed an email list. So up until now, I didn't have an email list, and I did not know what a sales funnel was. So I thought it was a tornado. I knew nothing.
You were just focused in on like, I'm creating all these projects, and you're just selling them for $10. And then people are saying, hey, this, let me get this from you on a regular basis. You turn it into a membership in 90 days. And give us some context. When was that happening? When did it officially, quote, become a membership?
Fall of 20, let's see. I've lost what year it is. Fall of 2020 is when I was selling.
Okay.
And then we opened up to waitlist members like a couple days before 2021. So January 2021 is really officially when we opened doors. So only a little over a year ago.
January 2021. Okay. Now, here's what's fun about this. You have officially got a membership, whether that was the initial intent or not. You've got this membership where you're providing, these art lessons for homeschoolers and art teachers. And you had this audience that you had grown, a Facebook audience of about 1,200 people. And then what happens when you do your official launch? Like, talk me through that. What was that like?
Oh gosh, I still had this whole idea that people asked for this membership, but they probably wouldn't want it. And I'm like, well, I know I have 20 people who will buy a membership, and I hoped for 50. And in January, when I closed the doors, I closed at 349.
What? Okay, I want to pause there. You close at 349 members. At what price point is this, by the way?
Small, $17 a month.
Okay. So you were hoping,
right?
You were hoping for 20, home run would have been 50. You land at 349. What are you thinking in that moment?
I'm thinking apparently some people might actually want this thing. So I was a bit shocked. I'm going to be honest. I did a very mature thing, like everyone. I did not celebrate. I just burst into tears, and I didn't know what to do. Because I thought, I'm actually like a business owner.
Like, you got a business on your hands. Yeah.
Me? I wore your shirt, Sue. Just, like,
Yes. Were what were you like? What was the feeling in that moment though? Like as you said, like because you hadn't come from a business background, you had never thought about starting a business. Like was there also like a little bit of fear, in that like, oh my gosh, like what have I done? Like,
that's exactly the words I said. What
really?
have I done?
Hmm.
And I flip-flop, and I still sometimes flip-flop, and I think, is this really actually happening? That I started arguing with someone when they told me how much money I was bringing in a year, because I thought there's this not possible.
Hmm.
So yeah, even at that level of 349, and then I started, the problem with that is I started getting people who were upset
Hmm.
because they heard I was open in January, but I closed the doors. And it was now January, like middle of January, and they missed it. So I said, okay, well, I'll open up in a few weeks for a flash opening. And at this point, I had not joined Tribe, so I didn't really fully understand like the ramifications of what was going on.
Yeah.
And I opened up again, and I ended up with, I think, 550 members total by the end of the flash opening and the founding member launch.
So this would have been like around February timeline?
Around February.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So now you got over 550 plus members
Yes.
in just a couple of months. And at this point, like what's going through your mind? Like, are you thinking, okay, how are you managing the people? This is a whole different thing. You've gone from not in wanting to be a business owner to having a business to having 500 plus members. Like, what's going on? Are you still doing this all by yourself? Talk me through that.
I had a business partner who was creating half of the content.
Okay.
And then everything else I would do myself. So I was doing the emails, I was handling any kind of community management, because I started a for members Facebook community. I was doing any filming, videos, Instagram reels. I was still creating half of the content, creating the freebies, posting on the blog. So all of that was still me. And I didn't sleep a whole lot at the very beginning. So that's changed. I now fall asleep at like 10. Which is probably a good thing. I'm actually getting the sleep that my body, needs.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're doing everything yourself at this
yes.
point. Obviously, you have your partner who's creating half the content, but in terms of like running the business, the marketing, the community management, all those things. So this is all on your own, and then you did another launch. And talk to me about that. This was around August, I believe, right?
Yes. So in April, I did hire someone. So I was thinking about hiring someone to help, a VA of some sort. And I had an old coworker who just happened to see what I had created, and she was not asking for a job. She just wrote me saying how amazing it was. We got into talking. My kids are going to be back in school. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And I remembered her work ethic, and I said, hey, want a job? So she came on part-time, and she took care of uploading all of our content. And she eventually took over handling some of the writing for my partner, because I was doing all of that also. And so that helped a lot, and that freed me up to actually do like a more formal launch. And so I thought, I'm going to have a summer workshop, and this is where I'm going to pitch to people, and I'm going to invite guest artists, and people are going to sign up, and they're going to come to my amazing workshop, and then I'm going to do the pitch. And what really happened is I didn't have as many people sign up for it as I thought. So I had 50 people sign up, which I am not complaining. We had the most amazing time. And it was the after effects where people were sharing what they did that actually got people noticing. But guess what? I totally forgot to pitch. Totally.
You didn't make an offer.
People, I talked about what they offered, did not touch my stuff. And so I actually started what I call the unofficial space turkey method. And that's what I used for this last launch too. And that is, I have two defined customer bases. So our teachers need something slightly different. I need to talk to the art teachers. So that's the webinar. But the homeschoolers, I would do live art classes. So for 1 week, I did a live art class for kids. And I started spreading them out, and then they just suddenly disappeared. So what ended up happening is the kids will go to the parents and say, I really like this art class. Where do I get more? And so I didn't really have to pitch, and I still don't really, to the homeschool market, because kids kind of do it for you when they really like something, right? We've all been in the 80s where they watched the cartoon and we wanted the action figure. And so it's kind of working like that. And so I ended up with about, I think, a little over 1,000 is where I ended up after that launch.
Wow. Okay. It's pretty remarkable. If we just take a snapshot, you saw a gap in the marketplace and was frustrated by how art was being taught in the homeschooling market, decided I want to have more fun in the way in which we teach. Others started saying, Julie, what you're doing is amazing. Like, teach me how to do that. Light bulb goes on. Oh my gosh, like, even though it's easy for me, it's not easy for everybody else. I can help people with this. And then you start experimenting, selling art projects one-off for $10. People start saying, Julie, can you just give this to us on a regular basis in a membership? That formalizes in January, and you welcome 349 members right out of the gate. That grows to more than 550 by a month later. And fast forward to August, you're now over 1,000 plus members in this membership, which is pretty amazing. Like in just over half a year, you've grown to more than 1,000 plus members in this membership. And then
we just finished a launch this past January, and only probably in the last 6 months, the art teachers are starting to realize that we have, they want tie-ins because their administration want them to do art projects that are based on science and literature. And my partner's an art teacher, and I'm a homeschooler. So we're able to kind of talk
both languages.
And so we ended up closing the door at, I thought we had gained 404, but I'm apparently really bad at closing the doors properly because they keep sneaking in. So we actually ended up with around 450 new members. And I know from experience that January is a little bit slower than August for launch time for this market. So that is still just incredible.
You're 1,400 plus members now, which is remarkable. And Julie, your story is amazing. And I just want to take a moment and just congratulate you for what has happened in such a short period of time. But there was something that happened in October that could have been tremendously devastating had you not had a membership in place. Can you talk to us about that and how important the membership was? And then I've got some follow-up questions because I know there was some magical moments in that experience as well.
Yeah, it's something that has been drilled into us to make sure that we celebrate what we've accomplished. And this was a big thing. So I took my family on a vacation to Marco Island in Florida. And we stayed somewhere that I never thought in my life that I could afford. And we had the most magical vacation, and we were coming back and we got home. Everything's unpacked. You're thinking, I'm finally home. You're excited. I get out of the shower and I can't feel my leg. So my leg had turned purple. I was rushed. I was losing consciousness. I was rushed to the hospital, emergency surgery. My kidneys failed. My iron tanked. I almost died. They didn't know if I'd have my leg. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And at this point, I had been holding on to things a little bit tightly and not wanting to, give up control. It's hard. It's like your membership is your baby. But one of the things that continued to happen is members continued to pay us. So those, if I didn't have a membership and I had something that was different, like a course, it would have been more highly dependent on me showing up at a certain period of time. But because this recurring revenue was happening and we have members who paid annually, I was fine. And I ended up hiring 4 people part-time from the hospital. And I was not fully cognizant of everything that was happening in the hospital. But what I was cognizant of is these people were amazing and I wanted them on my team. And I hired messy. I didn't even really fully know at the time what they were going to do. And I think we feel like we have to know sometimes exactly what the next step is before we take action. And I'm proof that taking action, you find that clarity. So from the hospital bed, I decided that I would not charge our members for the next month because my partner and the one person were able to, we usually give out about 10 to 12 lessons a month. And she was only able to do 4. And I said, you know what? Let's give our members these 4. They deserve them. And we're going to refund everyone for their month, which ended up being a huge project. So I came on from upstairs in the bedroom, propped up on 18 pillows because I couldn't walk yet. And I told everyone what had happened. And I said, this is what we're doing for all of you because we're committed to you. And there was outrage. And I had not expected it. And there was outrage because I dared to refund them. And
they didn't want the refund.
Over, I'd say 1/3. And some of them, with people didn't even know what had happened. So over 1/3 said, I don't want the refund. I don't want you. And they said, we want this to go towards you. You have bent over backwards for us. You continue to deliver and help us, our kids, our teaching, our administration. I just kept hearing it over and over. And I still can't believe it. I'm going to try not to cry while I'm live when I think about it. But that is what
how did it feel for those members to show up in that way?
I am so used to being the one that shows up for them that to have that back is something that I find happens almost always only in a membership because they're in the membership because of you. And I'm still just completely overcome. And I mean, just so intensely grateful.
I can only imagine what a moment that was. Like, here you are in probably one of your most vulnerable states. You're in a hospital bed and, not able, in this case, to deliver on the membership experience. You make this judgment and call of saying, listen, we can't deliver in the way at the capacity that we want because of what's happened. I want to issue everybody a full refund. And the members just pour back into you and say, no, we don't want the refund. We want to be here for you, that we're grateful to you and the way in which you've showed up for us. And this was a time for them to be able to show up for you. I can only imagine what a special moment that must have been, as a business owner, but, certainly as a leader within your community.
I had a friend of mine reach out who's also a member, and she said, can I, with your permission, give out your address if people ask? And I said, okay. And so I have still an entire collection of cards and art that kids drew.
Oh my gosh,
Julie, I hope you get better. And I looked at them every morning. Because getting out of the bed and making it into the bathroom even was hard. I had a walker. I couldn't walk. I had to learn how to move from a walker to a crutch. And every morning this is why I do what I do. So
I don't even know what to say, buddy. I'm incredibly moved, and hearing the details of it. It's just a beautiful example of what a membership is. It's so much more. We talk about the recurring revenue, and that is important, and that creates the stability as a business owner. But this is a perfect example of that. It's so much more than that. A membership gives us the ability to go deep with people and to serve people at a high level. And at the same time, when we need it most, to be able to receive, from those members. What an amazing story. So I want to continue on here, because the other big move that you made while in the hospital was you made the decision to hire 4 people. These were people from within your community. And I want to talk about, you're growing as a business owner at this point. You've gone from not having any thought or intention of owning a business, not having any experience in business, to now in, just over a year, not even a year at this point, like having a membership with thousands of members, tens of thousands of dollars in recurring revenue each month. And now you're like in the hospital, and you've hired these 4 people to help you. What did that make possible for you as a business owner in having this team?
Oh my goodness. It used to be that it was always up to that last minute that I was racing to try to get, our bundle and our content out. And there wasn't a lot of time for anything else. And just yesterday, I thought, now February is a short month, granted, but on the 21st, we were completely done with this.
Wow.
And during that week, it's allowing me to focus on a lot of other things. So one of the things that I'm able to do is kind of keep my ear to the ground and create things like for Encanto. My kids love Encanto.
Mine too.
I'm singing along and I'm like, why am I not creating an Encanto art lesson? So I did. And I wouldn't have had the time really before, because I would be busy doing some of these other things. So we have someone who's handling our customer support emails, and she is just incredible. And then I found out that she can knit, and everyone's like, we want Fiber Arts Project. I'm like, no, nope. And I found out she could knit, and I said, so. And while I was recovering, she actually was the one who created an art project, and she did the video, and she did the video teacher training. So having that person even allowed me to recover better.
Wow.
And I was very honest when I hired them. I said, I love like that you stand for our values. I love you as a person. You're incredibly kind. You're smart. You're creative. And this is going to be really messy.
We're going to figure it out as we go.
And I said, I want to be upfront. And now I'm a few months later, and I've seen exactly, someone I thought was going to be the writer. That might have not been her best thing, but man, is she sharp finding out our consistencies and some of these like little tiny things. And then we now have a fiber arts specialist, and I don't have to do that ever again. Yeah. And then while I was in the hospital, one of them was handling standards, and she's like, you do this every month? And I'm like, yes. She's like, I'm going to fix that. So you just never know. These are things that I didn't even know were possible and I didn't know what to do, but bringing on people who were invested in the company, who were those A-level players, and I gave them the reins to take care of stuff, and they just went.
I'm just taking notes here myself. So if you see my head go down, Julie, it's not that I'm not paying attention. I'm taking notes because I want to recap some of what you're saying here. Yeah. But I love the fact that, number one, your team, you didn't have everything figured out with your team right from the get-go. It was not like, I'm hiring you to be in this role and, this is the job description and here's how things go. It's like, look, I need help. This is messy. You are a great fit culturally. I love you as a person, and if you're game to help me figure this out, amazing. And along the way, you've made those adjustments. And I think this is a really important lesson for everybody. It's like, we think sometimes we got to have everything figured out and nailed down. And you've said multiple times throughout this conversation that it was you taking action and moving forward that created the clarity, not like sitting back and trying to figure it all out first before moving forward. And
even the content of the membership, people ask for more of this and less of that. And even in the past year, we've made those changes and taken out the things that people didn't really care about. And we've used that time and that space to give them more of what they wanted. So we didn't even know really fully what their membership experience would look like. And we're continuing to grow and evolve with them. And, you know, with COVID, like we knew people asked for more of this and less of this. So continuing to just listen and change. But yeah, if I had waited until I had it, I don't know what is perfect.
So let me ask you this. We're going to wind down here, and I got a couple final questions for you. But what do you think life would have looked like had you not moved forward with this idea?
Gosh, so different, because one of the things that I'm able to do now, I mean, not only take my family on vacations and fix things like the broken roof because of, you know, Michigan snow. I know as a Canadian, you understand snow.
I get it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you understand that. But also being able to spoil friends and family and even members and give back more. And it's one of my favorite things to do. And also, having this life allows me to inspire others who are sitting on the fence thinking, could I do that? And I knew nothing about any of this. And I just really feel like if I can do this, then anyone can do this.
Julie, you're amazing, buddy. And it's so much fun to see the progress that has happened in such a short period of time. You know, in just over a year, you've gone from no business experience, not even thinking about starting a business, to a membership with thousands of members, more than 1,400 members. I'm just stoked for you in the way that the progress that's happened, and the way that the membership has, you know, grown, and the way your members have shown up for you just as much as you've shown up for them. It's just a beautiful story all the way through. Where can people go to find out more about you?
I am on everywhere as Soul Sparklets Art. So my girls are my sparklets.
And your website is soulsparklets.com, right?
Exactly.
I'll put that up there for everybody to see. But Julie, what final words of advice would you give for anybody who is thinking about a membership, or perhaps has one and wants to take it to the next level?
I had this piece of advice given to me, and so it's one of the things that I love to share. But nobody's going to come knocking on your door tomorrow and give you permission. You have to actually take that action. And as soon as you take that action, there's really just no looking back.
I love it. I've taken notes here. Nobody will give you permission. So powerful. You've just got to do it yourself. Julie, buddy, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. What a great story. And it's just beginning. I can't wait to see and watch and witness the continued progress. So congratulations to you. What an amazing story. What an amazing membership. And I look forward to hearing and watching where it all leads.
Awesome. Thank you, Stu. I appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon.